The U.S. just bombed a Yemeni oil terminal, killing over 80 people. Russia's spring offensive in Ukraine is surging forward with 67,000 troops, and Pakistan just shut its airspace to India. It's been one of those weeks. I am Mandatory Fun Day. This is Worldwide Wednesday. Here's everything you need to know in a couple minutes. Stick around until the end because we're going to break down why the U.S. Navy just made another provocative move through the Taiwan Strait. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you think I'm prettier than the mainstream media. On April 17th, U.S. warplanes launched 14 precision-guided strikes on the Raj Issa oil port, named after Raj Al Ghul's sister from the Batman comics, or the least known of the Wu-Tang Clan. This took place in western Yemen, one of the main export hubs under Houthi control. The terminal, located along the Red Sea coast, is strategically important for both economic and military reasons. As always, you will never know if I'm going to say economic or economic. At least 80 people were killed and 170 injured, many of them believed to be support staff and militia members. The Trump administration claimed the strikes were a direct response to continued Houthi attacks on commercial shipping, drone launches, and missile threats against U.S. naval assets. We don't tolerate the errant touching of boats from anyone. This isn't just about oil, though. It's about signaling capability and willingness. The U.S. chose a target with financial, logistical, and symbolic value, but targeting oil infrastructure is a double-edged sword. It cripples Houthi funding, but also inflames anti-American sentiment across the region. Iran's condemnation and the Houthis' vow of retaliation guarantee that the Red Sea won't be quiet anytime soon. It remains to be seen what's going to happen in the wake of this strike, okay? It could quiet things down, it could push people towards a bit more peace, or it could inflame them and cause them to increase their own operations. We'll have to wait and see what happens. The Russian military has launched a large-scale spring offensive in northeastern Ukraine, specifically targeting Sumy and Kharkiv oblasts. Reports from the Ukrainian General Staff indicate that over 67,000 Russian troops, supported by tanks, heavy artillery, and drones, have mobilized for this new push. Satellite imagery shows a buildup of logistical hubs just across the Russian border, suggesting this is not a short-term operation. Ukrainian sources have claimed that foreign fighters, including Chinese nationals, are embedded with Russian units, though Beijing has denied any official involvement. An honest mistake. Russian nationals and Chinese nationals are often mistaken for one another. People sometimes walk up to me and tell me that I look like Tiger Woods. This offensive marks a transition from attrition warfare to a momentum-based campaign. Russia wants to seize initiative before Western aid reaches Ukrainian front lines. If there is any truth to Chinese nationals assisting, it's a seismic shift. Even without direct military support, increased cooperation between Russia and China in tech, intel, and logistics could tilt the war's trajectory and destabilize NATO's eastern flank. If you enjoy my channel and want to support me further, head over to themandatoryfunday.com. That's my website. We've got merchandise, we've got hats, mugs, stickers, everything, shirts. We've got it all. Members of the website get 20% off all purchases forever, access to exclusive content, and the ability to message me directly. I don't know why it sounded like I was having a stroke during that. Let's please get back to the normal video. The annual Balikatan military exercise kicked off this week in the Philippines, featuring more than 14,000 troops from the U.S. and the Philippines, with Japan also participating. The drills include amphibious landings, live-fire artillery tests, and cyber defense simulations. These exercises looked like an episode from the show Most Extreme Elimination Challenge. Crucially, the exercises are being held just days after a Chinese aircraft carrier group was spotted moving near the Luzon Strait, an area directly adjacent to Taiwan. The Chinese government called the exercises deliberate provocations. Balikatan isn't just a drill, it's a deterrent ad campaign. The message to China is loud and unsubtle. Any move on Taiwan will trigger a regional response, not just a bilateral one. The inclusion of Japan, a nation rapidly expanding its defense posture, suggests the U.S. is assembling a Pacific version of NATO without needing to name it. These are not just allies training, they're practicing for real-world scenarios. Hey! If you haven't commented yet, could you leave a comment? I don't even care if it's ridiculous. Just make sure it's more than 7 words or so, okay? Help me out here. But if you could give me some criticism, constructive or otherwise, I'll either laugh at it or cry at it or something. Sometimes you guys make me smile. In the deadliest militant attack in Benin's history, 54 soldiers were killed where gunmen from Jamaat Nusrat al-Islam wal Muslim. Gunman from JNIM, I can't say the whole name, I'm sorry, it's too long and I'm gonna butcher it. JNIM is an Al-Qaeda-linked group. They ambushed a convoy in the northern Atakora region. One of the more stable countries in West Africa now finds itself grappling with the same extremist spillover plaguing Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. This attack wasn't random, it was strategic. Jihadist networks are expanding southward towards the Gulf of Guinea. I am currently petitioning that to be renamed the Gulf of America Jr. The Gulf of Guinea is where wealth ports and international investments lie. If these groups establish safe havens in Benin or Togo, it could create a second-tier Sahel crisis, pulling in France, the U.S., and regional coalitions into another grinding counterinsurgency war. In a quiet series of meetings in Oman and Rome, the U.S. and Iran have resumed indirect nuclear talks. Iran has offered to cap enrichment at 60% purity. Walter White would be disgusted with those numbers. They want to open new civilian nuclear reactor projects, some of which could include contracts with U.S. or European firms. This surprising proposal comes amid increasing economic stress in Iran and diplomatic pressure from Gulf nations seeking de-escalation. U.S. negotiators remain skeptical, but they are interested. Iran appears to be playing the long game by dangling reactor contracts. They're inviting Western economic interests into the deal, creating political buy-in from both sides of the aisle. But even a civilian reactor program with oversight can be flipped into weapons-grade enrichment. These talks might produce a deal, but at what cost? The margin for error is radioactive. In an abrupt escalation, Pakistan has officially closed its airspace to Indian airlines and suspended all bilateral trade routes. This includes transit trade to third countries via Pakistan. The decision follows months of rhetoric over various topics, as well as accusations of terrorism. Indian officials have denounced the move as economic blackmail, while Pakistan claims it's a defensive measure against Indian aggression. We all remember how the war of northern aggression turned out. If I lose followers over that joke, you are the followers that I wanted to lose anyway. Every time India and Pakistan engage in this tit-for-tat, the region holds its breath. The stakes aren't just about trade or territory, they are nuclear. Shutting down airspace disrupts commerce, but it also sends a clear message. Diplomatic options are narrowing, and both sides are inching closer to confrontation. The global community should be paying way more attention than it is. But hey, at least we all got to see Katy Perry pretend to be an astronaut for a few minutes. Also, if Katy Perry is an astronaut, I have 4 children. Does that make me a gynecologist? The U.S. Navy has transited the Taiwan Strait. And that is crazy because you do not generally hear the word Navy and Strait in the same sentence. That is as far as I'm going to take that joke because I don't want to get canceled. For the 3rd time this year, a U.S. Navy Arleigh Burke-class destroyer sailed through the Taiwan Strait. These transits, typically lasting 8 to 12 hours, are routine but politically charged. China responded with combat air patrol, shadowing the vessel and issuing a sharp diplomatic warning. Pentagon reiterated its commitment to freedom of navigation, stating the U.S. forces will operate wherever international law allows. Hell yeah, we will, brother. These transits aren't just symbolic, they're stress tests. Every time a U.S. warship makes the passage, it probes Beijing's willingness to escalate. China's growing military presence near Taiwan isn't for show anymore, it's a readiness exercise. And while the U.S. sees these moves as status quo maintenance, China sees them as provocation. At some point, someone's going to miscalculate. If you want to dive deeper into the Russia-Iran intelligence alliance and how it's reshaping global conflict zones, check out the exclusive content for members only. It's live now on my website, themandatoryfunday.com. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Smash that like button if you made it to the end. Drop your thoughts in the comments and watch the next video on the screen. It's probably another geopolitics video. I'll see you all next week.